welcome back. We are still here. We've got one more episode to go in this Smash Brothers Marathon. Those of you who have been enjoying this documentary, again, thank you for tuning in. Let MLG know that we sincerely appreciate having Melee back here at Major League Gaming. And anyone that's a fan of the Smash Brothers series, of course, if you want to know more, there's plenty of places to look, like Smash boards or even Reddit with their Smash Brothers subreddit. So there's a lot of places to look, Facebook groups. If you want to become a part of this, it's never too late, right, Jake?
Absolutely. I mean, even Melee at Omni is a really cool resource for like the dedicated fans. There's a lot of really cool information there. So there are plenty of resources, and the Smashers that are watching, you guys got to get on Twitter. That's the one thing I want to say before we turn off tonight, because the presence on Twitter is huge, and I see more and more people getting involved. But if you don't have a Twitter account, go out and make one and tweet at MLG for us, because
right.
You know, we're really looking to do a lot more with Smash this year. So
right. I mean, personally, I'm enjoying the view here in New York City. I'm enjoying it from the east side, and I would love to see some more Smash in this very, very studio right now. And speaking of people that have come to know the scene from various angles, whether websites or maybe you guys know them pretty well. So who do we have here in this Skype call?
Well, we have like a pretty big mix of people from all over the community that have, you know, been part of the community in various times, and, you know, everybody's still involved. But let's just take a look at this list. We got a party call right here. So we have the Kishes. We have Mike G, Dr. PeePee, and Hungrybox.
Dr. PeePee, is that the one that PC Chris was making fun of his name earlier in the documentary? It's a pleasure to have all of you here. So where do we begin? You know, we're almost up to the final episode, and we've had this huge retrospective on what's happened in the past. The 9th episode is kind of just a roundup of what's been happening recently. You know, when we're talking about the future of Smash, where do you guys see this happening in like the next 2 months, the next 2 years? Let's start with one of the Kishes. I'll let you two figure it out. Which one first? Or maybe not.
Can you guys hear us?
Hungrybox, what are your thoughts on it while we wait for the Kishes to figure it out?
Are you muted too?
I
think everybody's muted. Do we have a tech difficulty here? Is that our side?
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, we're hearing people now.
There we go.
How's it going, Mike G? What are your thoughts on the next 2 months and the next 2 years, and especially in the Melee scene? You know, there's PM on the rise, and of course, Smash 4 on the horizon. Where do you see it going, as I see you in your 2013 EVO shirt?
I see some great big things. Like, honestly, I'm still surprised that we're even still here. You know, I'm still like it's amazement surprise. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I could see us going, like with Smash 4 on Horizon as well. I just see it still going on. New players are gonna come through. You know, even with Melee still strong, going strong. We even in Georgia right now, we still have, in our local tournaments, we still have like 30 people coming to like every little local tournament in Georgia.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And since you guys are in Georgia, I might need you guys to save me from vacation next week.
Yeah, but, we're working on that. Don't worry. We got plans for you.
All right. Let's go a bit further south, over to Florida. Hungrybox, what are your thoughts on the future of Smash, especially with you as one of the 5 gods or deities of Smash currently in the Melee scene?
Well, hey, can you guys hear me or no?
We hear you loud and clear.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, the future of Melee is just like completely in the player's grasp right now. The fact that we have Evo already picked it back up, that we are in the position, and now MLG is bringing it back. It's like a dream come true, pretty much. But like, I knew it would happen at some point, but it really is a unique community. And the fact that you now have so many more outlets for players to enter into grassroots tournaments. Even like right now next to me, I have my old training partner Hiroshi, Brian, and 2 newcomers playing Melee in my room, just because they heard of it from Evo, and the community is constantly expanding. You know, I try to host as many tournaments as possible, and I encourage all other top players or players to do the same, because you never know what kind of hidden talent in your community. So I'm just really happy that everyone gets to have a second chance, pretty much, at experiencing the revitalization of Melee. So it's really cool.
Definitely. I mean, there's so many people that have joined the scene since the release of the documentary, or since Evo. It's a third wave, and it's really, really exhilarating to see. and who knows what's going to be in the future for them. I know personally as a second wave guy, I missed out on a lot. It's one of my biggest regrets. So hopefully in the near future, I'll have that opportunity. And speaking of those second and third wave guys, we have another top player who's a bit further north than you, Mr. Kevin Nanny from North Carolina. Dr. PeePee, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Oh, well, can everyone hear me all right before I start? Okay, just making sure.
You're loud and clear, buddy.
All right, good deal. Yeah, I think, you know, what you said with 2 months, you know, I see that Apex is coming up. Everyone's kind of gearing up for that. It's our huge grassroots event. Everyone's really excited for it. It's going to be a big deal. And I think in the wake of whatever comes out of that, which will be amazing things, I'm sure, you know, we're going to, you know, move from that. We're going to start looking towards, you know, the summer and these other spring events, and everything's going to get really exciting because when the last big tournament is over, everyone says, okay, well, what's next? What's next? And, you know, I mean, there were times where people were like, we're not sure, but, you know, with with all the news coming out lately, with all, you know, the excitement, I think, you know, the next 2 months, you know, we might hear, you know, well, I don't know everything that's going on, so I might hear, I should say, something new that I wouldn't have heard about before. So that's really exciting to me. And sounds like everything's just building on itself. MLG, they're being our good buddies right now. Hopefully Evo will be our buddy again. Who knows? I'm looking forward to all of it. I know that the scene here is growing, and it's, you know, really cool, and, you know, Project M, everything else growing, and I'm loving it to death. It's all really fun.
Well, speaking of Project M, do you think that's actually part of the growth? Do you think Project M is actually helping people get into Melee?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, for a while, I kind of wanted to deny that, I think, because I was, you know, sometimes the game would aggravate me or something. I said, oh no, it's not doing anything. But you know, the PM guys are doing a real good job over there. They are, and you know, I talk to a lot.
PM.
Well, sometimes when I want to be, I guess. But you know, when I talk to a lot of new people, when I come in, I always ask them, how did you find out about the game? You know, what are you, we're seeing a lot of new people, I'm saying, well, how'd you find out about it? What are you doing? And a lot of people say PM. It's like, well, I play PM, and it seemed like it was less scary to get into than Melee, so then I kind of worked my way from there into Melee, and I hear that a lot. And so PM is definitely doing, you know, Melee, and I guess the Smash scene at large, a lot of good. There's some people that exclusively play PM, and they come to tournaments, and, you know, from that they might get interested in another game, or they might just make PM and, you know, the Smash scene at large bigger. And either way, that's a win for the community. That's more exposure. That's more people that want to watch the game. That's great.
Now let's go to Indiana. So, Kishes, are you there? Either one of you?
Yes, Kish Prime here.
All right, let's go to Kish Prime. How's it going tonight?
It's fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. So, you know, we've been going through a lot of history in this scene, and of course, the FC series is just, there's not much more you can say about that. You know, it's such a venerated series.
We've had at least 3 people tonight say it's their favorite tournament of all time, and you know that absolutely says something.
Right.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts on the event? I mean, FC was obviously a huge event, but I mean, how much did that tournament affect the community and yourself?
I mean, I think early on it's weird. Looking back on it, a lot of people see that as something that was like the national tournament for years, but in reality, there was a lot of activity even back then. I think it's neat that so many people look back on that as something that they enjoyed, and that really obviously makes us feel good, and we're thrilled that people enjoyed it so much. But you know, it was just all part of that build towards where things ended up going. It's so weird because after FC Diamond, you know, we think 2007, Brawl's out, everybody's going to be switching over. We kind of, at that point, started shifting out. I know one of the reasons why I personally started jumping out of FC was the fact that getting to be an adult, knowing where Nintendo was at in terms of not being comfortable with these types of events, I was nervous about hosting events. And to see now, it's taken 5 years, but now we see Nintendo and Evo and how that changed things, possibly as a game changer going forward to change things permanently. Right. I think it's really exciting and really wonderful.
And I believe we've got one other in the call, correct?
What was that?
I believe that one of the other Kishes is here. Are you there?
Yep, this is Kish Squared.
All right, so we got both of you here. So I guess, we have a surprise guest, it looks like, as well. but we'll get to him momentarily. So, same question to you. You know, 2 months, 2 years. What's the future in your eyes? You've been here for so long.
That's at Kish Squared.
Yes, I'm not making out very well. What was that?
You know, what's the future look like for you? I mean, we've talked about the past a lot, but I mean, what do you think about the future? 2013 was a huge year for Melee. I mean, a lot happened, and I'm sure you've heard all the rumblings going on for the future, and what are your thoughts on it, basically?
I mean, I think personally the PM's going to play a strong role in what happens going forward. I have to say it's you know, my role in the community has definitely been minimal over the last several years. It's been really refreshing to come back and see just how many people are still playing Melee. You know, for that matter, how many people are still playing Brawl. You know, but Melee being, you know, FC what Legacy was supposed to be, the 10-year anniversary. You know, in a lot of ways, I thought even at the time it would be more of a, you know, just sort of a love ballad, sort of farewell song for a lot of people. We've had that so many times over the years for Melee that, you know, I think we've just lost count of how many times we've tried to, you know, say goodbye to our favorite game, and it just keeps coming back, and it's amazing. So I think that, you know, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the relationship with Nintendo moves forward. You know, I think that we're looking at the new Smash games continuing to move in a direction that's a little bit different than where a lot of the competitive Smash people would like to see it go. We've obviously got PM going, and you know, whether they ever get a cease and desist from Nintendo, that could certainly affect things.
Absolutely.
Melee may be around for a long time as our go-to game, and that's not a bad thing.
And then we have one more guest who just snuck in right before we close out. You guys are familiar with him because you've been seeing a lot of him this afternoon in the entire marathon. Chillin, dude, how's it going today?
What's up, guys? How are you guys doing?
So
We've been doing well.
You just got back from a tournament. How did you do?
Yeah, I won Melee. It wasn't a huge tournament. I played Nintendo in the finals, but yeah, it was nice to get out there and do some work.
Good stuff. So, I mean, you know, when you hosted your first event again, for those of you that have been here for the entirety of the marathon, how old were you again?
When I attended my first tournament?
When you ran your first one?
Yeah, when you hosted.
Oh,
14 years old.
Well, those were actually the same. The first tournament I attended was also one that I hosted, and I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Little Chillin, dude.
And how old are you now?
So, yeah, that was fun. I mean, I feel like age is not as much of a handicap as a lot of people think. When you're young, you have a lot of instinct for the game that I feel like a lot of older players might lack. So I definitely enjoyed playing while I was so young.
That's one thing, playing the game, but organizing an event, that's the impressive part in my opinion. I mean, even organizing the event when I was like 18, I remember that being a huge undertaking. So
I have a question for Chillin, actually.
What's up?
Chillin, since you know you're one of the top players on the East Coast, just curious, how many stocks do you think will win by in the East Coast for West Coast Crew Battle Apex?
oh man,
you're
calling out West Coast right now.
I think we're gonna at least have one person left, like waiting in the wings. We're not gonna have to use our whole crew. So I'm saying,
we can have M2K as an alt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. We could just have out the whole crew.
Now, Chillin, we had a call earlier with
it's really easy to trash talk, guys, when there's nobody on the other side to trash talk.
well, we had a call with Ken and Hugs earlier, and they were calling the trash talk out on this. They said they were going to decimate East Coast with no effort. So both shots have been fired on both sides of the front at this point. So
don't shoot the messengers, please.
Moving forward in 2014, I mean, HBox and Chillin, you guys are both looking to compete at your fullest, right? Is that your plan, or are you guys gonna sit on the sidelines? What's the idea?
Oh no, I mean, I'm definitely planning on coming back in full force in 2014. I've been kind of like flirting with it for a couple years, where like I'll get back into it, but then something comes up in real life where, you know, I have to take a step back. So 2014, I'm definitely looking to bring it back and basically get as good or better than I was back in the day. That's my goal.
It's going to be really interesting because all the old pros are going to be there as well, and then you have all the new blood people keep talking about, the big five nowadays, but it's interesting because there was like a big like 7 or 8 back then, and I'm sure with all the added incentive that MLG always brought, it's gonna be like a complete clash. And I'm actually calling right now that at least one of the old pros, M2K not included, is gonna come back and get top 3 Anaheim, which actually will be on my birthday, which is pretty cool.
Oh wow!
And so hopefully it goes well for all of us. But I'm sure me, Mango, PeePee, Meet King, and Armada hopefully enter singles. I don't know why. It's a shout out to you, Armada. You'd better enter. But retired my butt. But I'm sure we're gonna see some crazy upsets, and you're gonna see some of the best Melee that you've ever seen. 13 years after the inception of this game, so it's just
crazy,
completely exciting, and I'm looking forward to it a bunch.
The longevity is something that is almost unmatched in competitive gaming, and of course, with all these generations here and represented in the Skype call, it's testament to that right now. However, gentlemen, I want to thank you all for hopping on with us, and again for being a part of this marathon. How's it feel to be on MLG?
Peace out.
Later.
Goodbye.
All right, thanks again, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We're gonna go right back to the final episode right after this commercial break. So again, thank you all for joining us. Take care. We'll see you in a bit.